Welcome back to Before 30. This is Auntie Janine.
And then nephew Trey's in the building.
Hey, hey.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I am
Good.
doing good. It is another wonderful beginning of the week, and we are back in the studio. And I'm excited about today's show, but I want to catch up on the weekend.
I know this weekend was a special weekend, right?
It was Valentine's Day
It
weekend. So
was.
to all of you, this is the week of Valentine's. I'm gonna say it's all week since it was on Sunday.
Might
So
as
happy
well.
Valentine's, nephew.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
So,
Uh,
what did you, I didn't get no chocolates. Where my chocolates?
so it's funny. We actually, my wife and I, we kind of chilled. We didn't really do anything like super special. We had a friend in town, a good friend of mine who's actually my groomsman. He was in town with his girlfriend, so we just They came over, we hung out with them a little bit, and then we went out to brunch. So
Okay,
between us, we didn't really do too much. Atlanta's wide open, so we just like we
tried
didn't
to
want to
stay
be out
low key.
right. We didn't want to be all the
Well,
way out there.
so everybody, I want y'all to know, nephew Trey did not get me any chocolates for Valentine's Day.
I
So I
didn't.
feel some kind of way, but I didn't need it anyway.
So, question is Valentine's Day, is it only for one partner to give or one person to give something else, or should it be
I guess it
reciprocal?
depends on the couple.
This is
Because
fair. This
I
is fair.
give and I do something special, but I like Valentine's Day. What is the deal with men and Valentine's Day?
It's one of those things where I don't know. I think to me it's a little commercialized, and I
So
think it
it's
depends.
Christmas.
But I think it depends on which phase you are in a relationship. If you're just getting to
Mm,
know someone, or it's in the early phases, I think Valentine's Day is amazing. It's an opportunity to be a little bit more romantic, be a little bit more intentional. But once you kind of a little settled in, it's like, well, why are we doing this? Or
yeah. So, but I think this goes back to, if you start something, like all the things you did to get my attention to,
I should be doing that every day. Why is the world telling me this one day we should focus on our love or we need to publicize it? I'm gonna do this every day.
okay. I
You
love
know,
that. Love every day.
that's the
Love
energy. That's the energy we gotta bring. I do
That's
this
right.
every
Love
day.
365. I like
Exactly.
that.
I
I
love
like
it.
that. So, but I like that too. So this weekend, I had a good weekend.
Okay.
It was filled with a lot of work. I'm gonna be honest, y'all.
Yeah, she was working.
The hustle is real, but and it's real good too. So I don't want to make it sound like it's disparaging and I hate it and I'm burdened down. But I did get out this weekend. It was my first time out in the city socially where I got to dress up. I had these leather pants I've been wanting to
Hot
wear.
leather pants. What
Yes,
color?
they like an army green. And I
Okay.
had this beautiful blouse on. There was like a fatigue, so I was representing uh
Okay.
the soldiers, I guess. But no, it was real. So it was my first time out, like socially, where I just did the whole thing, got dressed up.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, what you say about Atlanta?
Oh,
Atlanta
it's
is,
wide
it
open.
is wide open,
It's wide
capital
open.
WIDE.
Yes.
So, but I had fun. But when I got home and I was showering, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I feel like somebody need to create like a COVID shower. You've been out too many people been around you that
COVID
you don't
soap. You
know.
just wash yourself, and it's just like
Yes, right. I'm in the shower praying, like, Lord, please don't let me get sick. Because there were people that were really
they
forgetting.
don't even try. Like, don't even try. Don't even show up to a place with a mask. Don't even try to take it off. Like, don't even try.
Yeah, I had people coming up, like literally standing over me, talking and wanting who I did not know. And I was like, y'all, we in a whole panoramic.
Right.
It's like everywhere, all around us, this pandemic.
Yeah.
So that's a little concerning. So I probably will not be out again
Got to chill,
for a
lay low
while.
a little bit.
I'm gonna lay low. We're supposed to go
Easy.
bowling this week,
Oh,
but we're
nice.
gonna go probably during on an off-peak day at an off-peak
And
hour.
that's a
So
nice socially distanced, like kind of
yeah,
activity. You can
yeah,
there's some space in there that you can separate yourself from other people.
right. And Travis is here now, so
Yeah.
y'all, Uncle Travis and cousin Travis is here. So he
Hey.
loves to bowl, and so
Oh.
when he was living in California, the bowling alleys were not open, so they're
Oh.
open here. So
That'll be nice.
yeah, so I will say to y'all, my nieces and nephews out there, if you are going out, please be careful, y'all. I do not
Please
want
be
y'all to get
safe.
sick. right.
Absolutely.
Just be safe and have fun. But I know you were supposed to go to the movies too.
Yeah, funny story. So I actually did see a movie this past weekend, but it wasn't in the movie theater. So the plan was one of my good friends was supposed to get one of these private theater or private showing viewings
Oh,
thing. So it was like
uh-huh.
up to 20 people. It was one at the theater right off of Camp Creek. And then I'm usually running late to everything. So Sean and I were running late. So we get a text message about 15 minutes before, and it's like, actually, I got the wrong night. The reservation was actually made for Saturday night instead of Friday night. But long
Oh,
story short, the movie it actually premiered on HBO Max too. So it was Judas and the Black Messiah. So we just kind of regrouped and went and watched
mhm.
it at his house and talk about a heavy movie. Definitely learned a lot. It is based off or inspired by true events, so
Mhm. I
it's a lot.
say if I was born in 1949, I would have been a teenager during the Black Panther rise. And I probably would have been a
Mm.
Black Panther. I
Oh yeah.
mean, I just really believed in what they were trying to do in the Black community. So I am looking forward to watching that movie. I wanted to watch it all weekend. I have
Oh
literally
yeah.
been waiting since last year, probably actually since 2019 when they started filming.
Yeah. The cinematography is good. The acting is good.
Oh, the actor,
It
because
is.
look, Lakeith
Oh,
Stanfield is in it, and
oh,
he does nothing bad.
just a whole host of actors. It was powerful, and I think the integrity. I wasn't there during that time period, but I could just feel like the integrity of what everyone was saying, how they were feeling. It was just very authentic, and so definitely a great history lesson for me. Learned a lot more, and just walked out feeling like empowered. It's like y'all. We don't have some of the struggles they had back then. We could do a lot better. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, right. We could do more.
a
And
lot
which
more. Yeah,
leads us into, this week's show. We're doing a checkup on y'all, right? It
absolutely.
is we are at the middle of February. What y'all been up to? Right. What have y'all been doing? And we want to kind of circle back on that. I know there's a lot of focus and excitement around setting goals at the end
Hmm.
of the year, the top of the new year. And we want to make sure you guys are on track because although we talk about a lot of different topics that impact our young audience before 30, and even some of y'all over 30, and we thank you
Right.
all for listening. What we are want to make sure is happening with all of you is that you are still on this journey to finding purpose.
Absolutely. And we've talked about a variety of topics, but some way or another, you can incorporate goals into it.
Right.
Whether it's financial, whether it's health related,
Yeah,
set
love and
love.
romance.
Exactly. There are so many ways our goals are part of that process and also just helping us being one step closer to finding or strengthening our purpose.
And so that is what we want to talk about. Like last year in October, I think it was our show on October 21st, we introduced you to our book, My Journey to 30. It's a mini course on goal setting and mindfulness. So we want to
Mhm.
revisit that. If you don't have your copy, please visit our website at before-30.com so that you can download that book and use that as a supplemental guide for you to
Absolutely.
start setting goals. And if you've never been really active and focused on goal setting, this is a great way to get started. It's not complicated, it's straightforward, it's easy to do because I think that's some of the challenges people have with goals. There's so many tools out there, and we're
Absolutely.
going to talk about a few of them today, but we make things a little more complicated than they need to be.
Yep.
But I will say, even if it's just a list in a notebook, goal setting is so important. And we find that when you don't set goals, and I'm gonna even take it back, because we always, Trey, you
Yeah,
and I, we are people of faith.
absolutely.
We take it back to the Bible. The Bible is very clear. The people perish because
Yeah,
they
write
have a
it.
lack of vision. So
You
we
need to
want to
write it.
write the vision
Write
and
it.
make it plain. So we're gonna
Yep.
write it down so
And
that you
to
don't have to worry about remembering it.
exactly, and to that point, and you mentioned my journey to 30. We actually did an episode on it last year in October. I think it was October 21st of 2020. So definitely check out that episode. We kind of just give a high level, overview of some material that's in it and why it can help with your journey to 30. So check that out. And like you said, Auntie, um, goal setting. There's a lot of different things we could talk about. So I'm super excited to talk about, some of our goals that we've set, some of the tools and resources we use, so we can hop right on in.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about is, how do you set goals? And what do how do you know what to set a goal around and what's important to you? And
Yeah.
so Trey, I'll ask you, when you think about,
Ooh.
goal setting, and someone would ask you, well, I've never set goals. I just do stuff. Things just happen. And I
Right.
just seem to accomplish what I want to accomplish. My question would be, how do you know? How do you know you accomplished what you wanted, what you set out to accomplish?
I think that's a I think that's a good question, and it's something we don't maybe spend enough time thinking about, or I would say I didn't, especially early in my kind of career and in my life. So one of the things is when setting that goal, just making sure that for me, I'm really thinking through the how process. Like, how am I going to achieve this? In big picture, what does it look like? So people may have heard of the term SMART goals. And so that was kind of at a real basic foundational level. It was like, let me make sure that every goal I'm setting at least has these components. So making sure
So,
it's, oh, go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh
No,
yeah, I was just
I
going to
was
run
going
through
to ask you, like,
it.
what are SMART goals? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
So it's an acronym I learned kind of early, like in my late teenage years, early 20s. I mean, it really stands for, each letter stands for a word. So one, making sure it's specific. So, just saying, hey, there was a time in my life where I wanted to put on some weight. And so I was like, hey, just saying I want to put on 10 pounds, Trey, how you want to put on 10 pounds of what type of weight in what period? So making sure that your goal is very specific and not just general. I just want to gain weight. Measurable, that's the M. So making sure it's something that you can measure. A is, I believe, attainable. Correct.
Yep.
Yep. So attainable, making sure the goal is attainable. So,
Right.
me making sure I want to put on 10 pounds in a year may be attainable. Saying I want to put on 30 or 40 pounds in a year, it's like, is that really attainable? And then that also rolls into the R. Is that really realistic? Can you really achieve this goal and attain this goal within that time frame? And then T is timely, and making sure that the goal is you're achieving it in a timely manner.
Or it's
So that
time bound, right?
time
And
bound,
that's
exactly.
really like the deadline. Like, by this date, I will have completed this particular task or this
I like that.
particular
Actually, I've
goal.
never heard
Yeah.
time bound, but I like time
Yeah,
bound. Yeah.
so time bound is kind of how we look at it, and I like SMART goals as
Mm-hmm.
well. They do kind of, they can be a little cumbersome, but I think
Right.
it's a great guide to do some gut checking. So you were talking about putting on weight. It's the same thing. Like, if my goal is to save money, and I
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, I want to save. I'm going to try to save $25,000 this year, but you only make 55,000. Is that realistic when you look at your expenses?
Right. Your
Right? What
lifestyle, your
expenses
expenses.
do you have? If you're paying off student loans, credit card debts, car notes, you got rent, that might not necessarily be realistic to say that I'm only going to live off of 25 or half of my income.
Right.
Right. And that's half of my income after tax. So that's where that attainable, realistic comes from. So
Right.
if you like SMART goals, I think SMART goals is a great way to go. And it's a great way to go back and say, when you might be getting close to that time where you were supposed to drop 10 pounds. You said you were going to do that by June, and it's April and you're still 8 pounds away. You can
Yep.
go back and say, I might have been a little too aggressive. Or say, I've only been exercising twice a week, so that's
Yep.
not enough. I might need to step up my game. And going back
Absolutely.
to that goal and saying, okay, my goal is to lose this weight, but to be specific is I need to lose 8 more pounds in the next 2 months. In order to do that, I have to exercise 4 times a week.
Right. And my goal is to lose a pound a week. Something like that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's good. I like that. And I think SMART goals are a great way to supplement something that a lot of people do as well, is create vision boards. So people
Mm.
love to create vision boards. I like them as well. They can be used for a variety of different things. For
Right.
mindset, so I've seen people, my niece did, Jasmine did one this year when she was here visiting. And she did a beautiful board, but it was all words,
Ah.
powerful words. I mean, it was a large board. she got all the good magazines. I did not. She got some powerful words about just to help her with her mindset, her confidence, the ideas and the messaging that flows through her head, so she can look at that every day, and say those words out loud. But
Hmm.
in order, there are some other things in there too, and so sometimes people use photos
Oh
of
yeah.
achievements. They might use numbers, letters, numbers tied to finance, but other things, but pictures of places they want to vacation.
Yep.
So, you can use your vision board to create whatever you like. And it's a visual goal setting tool.
Exactly. You can see it every day. It's a constant reminder. And I actually kind of like the vision board that leads into, what did I do today? And I think that's something that definitely you could always have in the back of your mind is, did I do anything today to get me one step closer to my goal? If not, it's like, well, what am I going to do tomorrow? So I do like having those reminders because it helps with accountability. That's one of the steps I think into starting to have accountability or create that framework around your goals is,
Hmm.
are you constantly being reminded of your goal? And it's not to become a burden, but it's, hey, you set this goal out, do you want to achieve it or do you not? And so
Yeah.
having that reminder is the first process, I think, in sparking that awareness that's like, this goal is out there, it exists. How much am I committing to it and how much am I gonna, you know put into it?
Yeah, I had someone call me, and we were talking about their vision board, and they made a comment that, I'm going to take marriage off my vision board because it's always on there and I ain't getting married. I hadn't met anybody. And that's just a big desire of their heart.
Right.
But I actually started to break it down for them. I said, you have that on your goal as a destination, right? It might not happen, it may not have happened in 2019 or 2020,
Right.
but guess what you have done? You've actually been out more, you're dating more, you've become clearer on what you're looking for. You're more, you can articulate the type of man that you desire. You're praying about it more, like
Yep.
you're actually in action. I said before that you were not clear. So I think sometimes, even if the thing that you put on your vision board has not actually manifested, you don't see it, you don't have it, you can't
Yep.
hold it. I bet your behaviors related to that goal have sharpened. The things that you
Absolutely.
desire, you're doing all the things related to it. And I think that's to your point, Trey, is that once you see it, you can
Hmm.
check in like, oh, I got fitness on there, and I got these pictures of fitness people,
Yeah.
like, because every year I cut out some beautiful black woman who is
Who's
all
chiseled,
super fit. She's not
right?
chiseled, but
Not chiseled.
lean, and she looks
Okay.
good. She's always half dressed. She either got workout clothes on
Gotcha.
or a
Showing
swimsuit.
a little
I
skin.
can say, right? Because for me, it's like I want to feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
If I'm out somewhere half dressed, I always tell me half naked on
Half.
the beach. That's part of that
Yeah.
vision for me, is like I don't want to necessarily look like her, but
Right.
as is comfortable for me. And so when I look at that, I can say, oh, wait a minute, Janine, you didn't do your, you haven't been working out other than with your trainer. And
Right.
great bodies are not built only in the gym with the trainer.
And not
It's the
overnight.
diet,
Yeah.
it's all these other things. So
Yeah. No, and I think those are great points. And I think, kind of the example you brought up of that personal marriage, I think some things we also have to reflect on when we're creating these goals is, are these my goals? Or are these the
oh,
goals of,
what?
come on, are these the goals of people around me? What society says I should have achieved by this phase of my life? That's in your career, your personal life, your relationship, whatever that is are these truly my goals? And so I
Mhm.
think taking the time to really reflect on that, because the thing is, we only have so much capacity, there's only so many hours in a day. We can have a lot of goals that we want to achieve, but we really have to put the energy and effort into those goals that, one, that are truly ours, and I think ones that we truly believe in. I think
Yeah.
that's the second piece, is really understanding, do you believe in these goals, or are these just something aspirational, because there's work involved with this, and like I said, we all have limited capacity. So two elements that I think are really important is, one, are these your goals? And two, do you believe in them?
And then how do you know that they're your goals? I think goal setting starts with you spending time alone with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, right? it's okay to sit down with your friends and family and talk about what you want your goals to be. But I
Yeah.
think it's so important. We don't spend enough time by ourselves, even during COVID, right? Some of us still have to be talking to someone on FaceTime,
Yeah.
like really spend hours alone. And it's okay to be in a quiet place, right? To say, I want to settle my heart, settle all of these anxieties, and settle whatever's in my head. And I'm going to spend time thinking about my life
Yes.
and what I want my life to reflect, and even touching into my heart. Like, why was I born? What
Mm.
is my purpose here? And you
Yep.
don't have to come out of that quiet time having all the answers. But I think the more time we spend alone in silence, no music, no TV, no
I agree.
podcast, but y'all listen to this one, no podcast, listening to our hearts and letting God speak to us. I don't think we spend enough time in that. And you can call that whatever you want. It could come out through prayer, quiet time, meditation, just being by yourselves. I was with virtually three of my girlfriends. We did a Zoom happy hour a few weeks ago. And eventually, after all the foolishness that we laughed and talked about before,
Mm.
we spent a lot of time talking about how we spend time journaling and how that helps us even now at our age in our late 40s and 50s, how that is helping us get closer and closer, right? Because we got you guys on your journey to finding
Yeah.
purpose before your 30th birthday. It's a journey.
It is.
It is
And
definitely a journey, and you find those things in the secret quiet times. And doing that, you can say, oh, I want to be able to do this. Actually, one of my goals is to be of greater service to mankind.
mm.
You won't know that if you're not spending time alone, you know.
And what that looks
So,
like too.
and
You
what
you
does
figured
that
that
look
out.
like?
You figured that out. Spending time alone. I think something else that I think is really key that I've kind of just thought about what the goals I've set and when going through that process is kind of what's the trade-off and what's the investment. So to your point of if your goal is something physical, that's more time you're going to have to dedicate through that in the day of going to the gym or doing whatever exercise activity or even your nutrition. Maybe
Mhm.
shopping at a specific restaurant or cooking foods a certain way. So then it's what's the trade-off? What are you willing to give up to make sure that you're achieving those goals? And I think sometimes we just focus on the goal and how it'll benefit our life or bring us happiness, and but we don't realize that there's a trade-off associated with that. And do I believe in that? Am I ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, along with trade offs is this opportunity cost,
Yep.
right? There's an opportunity cost as well. And that cost might not be financial, it
Very
actually
true.
might be something like time,
Yes.
right? If I have a goal to write a book, that means I have to spend X number of hours a week, a day, a month
Oh yeah.
writing and researching. So, what's the opportunity cost? Long term, I will have achieved this big goal, and this could
Absolutely.
actually impact my brand and how I am seen as a professional in my specific area. But it also means that I have to, sacrifice social
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
It's the same way. I'm sure, a lot of our listeners, we find are accounting, finance professionals, a
Yeah.
lot of certifications. They've been spending time studying. I remember when I was younger going through that path too, when I was still doing accounting and tax work, the opportunity cost of studying for a certification. Sometimes it takes 9 to 18 months to 4 years to
Oh
pass
yes.
an exam for some people. And there's no shame related to that, whatever your journey is. But I bet those people who it took 4 years, they didn't sacrifice as much as they didn't look at that opportunity cost. Those people
Right.
who finished it in 9 months or 8 months, they said, you know what, I'm shutting down everything in order to focus
Yeah.
on that. So we got trade-offs, we got opportunity
Oh
costs
yeah.
that
It's a
need to be
lot.
considered in that. And so there is a lot.
Yeah. So
Have you
I'm
ever set a
oh, go ahead.
goal and realized that ain't the right one, or I had to change it, or it didn't turn out the way you had initially envisioned?
Yeah. And it's actually the first goal that I kind of talked about, or the first example I talked about here. There was a point in time in which I wanted to put on weight. So, you know, I'm athletic. I'm a cardio guy. So I've run track, played basketball, done tennis, done a lot of cardio sports. But there was a point in my life in which, you know, I want to just be a little bit bulkier
Want
and
to be
everything.
buff.
Yeah, one not super buff, but enough where it's like, okay, you know, they can. I don't have to wear the shirt, the small shirt. I can wear a medium shirt, and the muscles still, you know, poke through and
The muscles
everything. So
pop and they don't drown you.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so
But
then, yeah, so I had to realize that, you know, what I had to do, how, and what I learned too is, you know, it's not just going to the gym, it's nutrition. It's a whole, when you're talking about physical changes, like there are physical goals, there's a lot of different aspects. I think that when we watch the media and, you know, things like that, we think it's real easy. And so I
mhm,
had to come to terms with, are you willing to change your whole diet, like your whole regime, workout, because I'm naturally a thinner person, to put on this weight is going to be even harder. And so, yeah, I just came to terms. I was like, you know, my goal is not to gain 10 pounds. My goal is to be healthy. And then my goal is to also just look the way I want to look. There, I was
mhm.
associating this number with, I don't know. I don't know why I was associating this number with the goal. Whereas I
Yeah.
shifted my goal, I'd say, Trey, as long as you're healthy and as long as you are, you know, satisfied with how you look, that's all that matters. So
Yeah.
I think that was a big example for me.
Yeah, that's a big one because it required a reframing
Absolutely.
of what was more important. You got to drill down to actually what is important around it. And so being more healthy could have for some of us, it's about like for me, it's about having the appropriate amount of physical energy,
Yes.
even physical strength, right? Being able to open things when there's not a stronger person. So in my case, if the stronger person happens to be a man,
Yep.
there's not a man here to open a jar, to pull open a drawer, to lift a box, and I need it now. Maybe it's not something I can wait on. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's like when I think about health and wellness, it's one, I want to feel healthy. I want to be free from disease,
Right.
right? Or dis-ease in my body. So when I walk up and down my stairs, you know, I have a steep set of
Oh
stairs and
yeah.
my
Oh yeah.
bedroom is upstairs. So not feeling winded when I
Yeah.
come upstairs. So, right, it might not be, oh, I want to be 140 pounds.
Right.
I might not ever be 140 pounds
Mhm.
again, but I want to be healthy. I want to have a lot of energy. So I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
you have to go a little bit deeper in your goals and say,
Exactly.
what am I really trying to have here? What am I really,
Exactly.
what's the real outcome I'm looking for?
Yeah, and I think a part of that too was I realized that my real another physical goal I had was I wanted to be flexible, and so it was like, well, strength, flexibility, like I was all over the place, but then when I had to prioritize this, I wanted to make sure like my joints, my flexibility, like I was strength. There was other goals I had that just weren't designed to like putting on muscle mass and
Yeah.
it looking like 10 pounds. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was really great. Now, question for you: What are some what's a goal that you would say you were trying to achieve in your life that wasn't necessarily yours? Maybe it was,
Mhm.
you know, a family
Oh,
member or
I know
someone else in
one.
your life that was putting that goal on you, but you had to.
Yeah, so ago it wasn't my family. I'm so fortunate that my family is one like you do you. Whatever you do,
That's
we're gonna be
good.
supportive as long as it's not detrimental to your health or your
Hmm.
well-being. So I didn't have a nosy mama. I didn't, it was I grew up, and I really appreciate my family for that. However, I had a goal of when I was working in public accounting to be
Hmm.
partner. It started off as my goal to be a partner,
Ah,
like, but it was because I was in that environment, that culture. People were telling me I'd make a great partner. So I was drinking the Kool-Aid of what everybody else was saying for me.
oh yeah,
And I had an opportunity when I was working at the firm to move into a people role. It was
nice.
presented to me. I didn't go looking for it. I think people, my reputation around just how I supported my staff and team,
Right.
my ability to develop people. So I remember talking to the partners and some of the senior managers who I worked with very closely. And I was a manager at the time. I was in my second year as a manager. I was
Hmm.
1 year out from being promoted to senior manager. And then it was like, okay, we're gonna fast track you to partner once I made
Wow.
senior manager. So I was 5 years away from making partner. Had everything stayed the same.
Right, right.
So the goal, I was excited about, oh, this is a great opportunity. I
You're
love
gonna be
people.
partner.
They were going to give me a certification to be an executive coach.
Oh wow.
All of this stuff. I went back to the men and who I respected and admired, and they were like, no. They was like, you don't want to do that. You need to stay in the business. This is where the excitement is. The deals are being made over here.
Oh
And I was like, yeah, y'all right. Yeah, I want to make partner. They was like, they started telling me how much money I was going to be making
yeah,
soon. Um, and I stayed the course. And eventually I left the firm
yeah.
because I started realizing I wanted a different quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the words for it though. It took me a
Right.
long time. And this entrepreneurial spirit that
Spirit.
I used to help the firm make a lot of business, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was on teams that was constantly creating new products and services and
Yeah.
taking those to the marketplace. And look, and it took about 10 years, and before you know it, I was an executive coach. Like all of those things that was presented to
Manifested.
me 10
Yeah.
years earlier have manifested. So God had a plan. And I believe that too when we talk about our purpose, that God has a plan for our lives, and we
Mm-hmm.
can go against the grain for a while, and eventually we're going to circle back to it. You don't know
Exactly.
how it's going to manifest itself. And I will tell you, as much as I enjoyed my profession, then I am in a new place of purpose,
Yeah.
totally new place of purpose. And this is exactly what I should be doing.
That's good. That's what's up.
And I think it's okay. So I will tell you all, if you have set goals or you set a
Yeah.
goal and you get halfway through the year and you be like, I don't really want to do this, or this is not going the way I thought, or maybe something else is presented to you, that this is the opportunity to take it. We want to realize goals, although they're written down,
Mm-hmm.
they are not irreversible. Is
Yeah.
that the
And you
right word?
uh,
Irreversible. I don't know. Well, you can change them.
yeah, exactly. Change. And I think you mentioned this before in our conversations, being able to pivot. So,
Yeah,
you may have this going on, like you said, 6 months down the year. It is not bad to say, to question, is this my goal? Is this what makes me happy? Do I need to pivot? One, do you need to adjust the goal, or do you need to throw the whole goal away? And because
exactly.
you have some new insights into, what a better goal would be, that would be more fulfilling and that will lead you closer to your purpose, we definitely have to do that. And so, how often would you say it's good to check in and maybe do that, like that check in, like, is this
I
still a goal?
I think, so there's a concept called the 12-week year, and I want to share that
Mm,
too. To your question, how often should you check in? So I think to set a goal in January and just go about your life to make things happen is how we get lost
yeah.
on our path, right? Our pathway gets muddied, we get obstacles in the way, we don't do a check-in. Because I do think if you go through and you set small chunks of check-in time,
Yeah.
or you set your goals to be executed over a period of time, 12 months, 24 months, 18 months, whatever that is,
Yeah.
then you can keep your arms around them. Because like you said, you might have to stop something.
Yeah.
And I call that, just, you might have to just put it in the parking lot.
It's
It's
so real.
okay to store a goal away and come back to it. And
Mm,
the comeback might be over a period of time. It could be
yeah.
short term, or it could be long term, longer than a year. So place it in the parking lot. There's a methodology called the 12-week year.
Okay.
And I like this, and I use this with a lot of my clients, and I use it with myself as well, is to set my goals. I know what I want to achieve for the year. So I do some high level goals.
Right.
They can both be around mindset, who I am and how I show up as a mother, as not as a mother, as an auntie, as a sister, as
Yeah.
a friend. Those things, right? The intangibles, but
Right.
then specific goals. Back to what's the SMART goals. How
Yeah.
much revenue? What clients am I going to go after? Being real detail oriented, but I block those off in chunks of 12 weeks.
That's smart.
So then I break that down and say, these next 12 weeks, this is what I'm going to
Like it's
accomplish.
digestible. Like you can, like, you feel like it's not this huge burden weight. Like it's like, okay, 12 weeks. great time frame to truly invest in it, see the results. So I like that. I never heard that. What's it
Yeah,
called? The
and
12
it's
week.
right.
Was it?
Because
What's
well,
the
we have
actual term of
52
called?
weeks in a
Yeah.
year. Right. So we have 52 weeks in a year. So it
Yeah.
works out to being like a quarter. They
Okay.
just call it
Gotcha.
the 12-week year. So
Cool.
it's four check-ins a year, but you check in also weekly. Right.
Mm,
So this is what I'm going to accomplish over the next 12 weeks.
I like
Right, so
that.
then it's more manageable. I can actually remember that.
Yeah.
Right, so over the next 12 weeks I'm going to work out 3 days a week,
Yeah.
every day at this particular time for 60 minutes. So I can manage that. So when the next 12 weeks come, I say, okay, I'm getting closer to my goal. I'm going to step up my game and I'm going to
Yes.
add a day. I'm going to do 4 days a week and maybe, and I add to it.
Right.
And if it's other goals related to work or business, maybe even a home improvement project,
That's real. Yep.
you can say for the first 12 weeks, I'm going to pick out the tile, I'm going to interview contractors, I'm going to, right? So
Right.
it's real. And then in the week 13, the next set of 12 weeks, I'm going to do this part of the work.
Absolutely. No, I really like that. And you brought up something that really stuck with me. It was this parking lot concept. And so it's one of those things where maybe the goal needs to be put on pause for now. But then also, life is unpredictable. There's a lot of times unexpected situations occur in our life. COVID, this has changed a lot of our, what we would consider have been normal lives. So understanding that,
Mhm.
or I think getting comfortable with, hey, some goals may need to be put in the parking lot for now because of either a change in focus or just life is
Yeah.
happening. So I
Yeah.
really think that parking lot concept.
Yeah. And I like the parking lot because what happens, even if you kind of forget that you parked something, it eventually comes back up, right? So if you're
Yep.
writing things down, you're using the same notebook or journal, you go back to it and say, oh, what have I done? What didn't I get done? You'll see it. And
Yep.
the other way, staying on top of our goals and what we've accomplished is a community effort.
Absolutely.
Right. So I always say, be around people, right? Like you said, you set your own goals, you do them
Mhm.
because it's something that you want to do, but be around people who are also up to something, right? What
Yes.
are your friends up to? So if you're up to something, your friends are up to something, the likelihood that you're going to outgrow those relationships starts to minimize, right?
Yes.
You
Yep.
don't outgrow people who are up to something. We don't have to be doing the same thing, but you're all on a path of accomplishment. And I think
Absolutely.
that's really important. And people check in with you. So I was doing a big project. I shared it with some people. I
Yeah.
even shared it on social media. This was in 2017. It is now 2021.
Hmm.
I'm not finished with that thing, but like you said, things came up.
Yeah.
I had a whole lot of life events that were completely unforeseen at the time when I set that goal. And
Hmm.
then it got to the point that I almost forgot about it. I was like, I haven't worked on that in a whole 6 months or a year. But it wasn't criticism, it was awareness.
Right. Exactly. Of being
And
aware.
so for me to, even with your goals, Trey, I check on you. Hey, how's this going? Did you and
Oh
Shauna
yeah.
do that? I thought you guys were going to be working on this thing.
Exactly.
And it's not to shame you, it's to just check in.
Exactly. And we need that. I think it's critical, like you said, your circle or you sharing your goals. And it doesn't have to be public with the world, but being in community with people, like you said, who are progressing and trying to achieve, it really helps you and it really provides a great community for you. And so, I think that's critical. And then another
Yeah.
thing is what type of resources or tools do you need even technology do you use in helping you achieve these goals?
Mhm.
I know
Yeah.
something that was critical for me and a personal goal as well as a business goal was a budget and a forecast. Like, I know we don't want to talk about, I'm not going to go too deep and talk about it, but it was critical because it really helped us understand where each dollar was going. But then also in my photography business, really understanding, oh, like this is how many shoots we need to have in each month. This is what we're charging for it. This is the projected revenue. This is how much we can pay ourselves. This is how much we can spend on
Mhm.
marketing. This is
Yep.
it opened up my whole new world when I did a budget and a forecast because it was like, Oh, like you can really like now since you have the framework in place, you can tweak things and now you can make small adjustments where
Yeah,
if it was like, oh, this is the revenue number we want to make, but we don't know how we're gonna make it, you don't have the
exactly.
infrastructure in place to tweak the goals or when things aren't going as expected, you have no framework to pivot. And so a
Exactly.
budget has been a good tool for me.
Yeah.
What about you? What's been a good like tool or
I
resource?
still as many wonderful um apps and the technology out there, I still have to write things down. So
Hmm,
I do use Excel and other tools for the accounting infrastructure for my business.
right.
That's one thing. But personally, and to manage my time, I have to use a actual journal.
Mm,
One, and I just actually bought a new one that I really like, and it does a bunch of things. It's set up for each day, so I can write down exactly what I want to do and I need to get accomplished every single day of the year. It has affirmations, it has a
nice.
schedule, it tells me what I'm going to focus on, and that gives me control. It's work, right? It takes a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
work to do that. I try to do it on Sundays because that's the slowest day of my week. Um, I kind of use Saturday as a rest day for me most of
Hmm.
the time, but I don't mind working on Sunday. So I take my Sabbath for those of you who say, "Oh, she don't," my
She said
Sabbath is
she,
on
yeah.
Saturday.
All right.
But that really helps me, and I get to look at the whole month. Like these are some big projects I have going on, so I need to see it because if I don't, then I forget about it. And I keep the journal open. You see me when you come
Oh
over into
yeah.
my office. I have to move all my stuff out the way so we can work, but I keep my journal on my desk. And then some nights I take it into the bedroom so I can look and see what I got going on, and if I need to change anything and to tweak it.
Perfect. No, that's good. Good. Well, we
So
we
that
talked about a lot, Auntie.
we did talk about a lot. So just to recap,
Ooh,
we want y'all to figure out what your goal setting system is. You might do a vision board, but
right.
even with that vision board, you're going to have to break those out into smaller goals. And so you
Absolutely.
could use a framework like SMART goals or the 12-week year so that you can focus on it. But I think our biggest takeaway is that you got to write it down. You want to
Absolutely.
see it. And it's a great way to go back and celebrate. Like, yes, I did that. I
You
did
did.
that.
There's
Right.
nothing more fulfilling than crossing something off. It's like that little task list.
Yeah.
You cross something off when you achieve a goal, putting that check mark next to it, or however you want to, mark it being accomplished. That is such a fulfilling space. And then too, I love going back and seeing all the little small steps to get to achieving that goal.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more rewarding than that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And you get to celebrate. So even with
Oh
these
yeah.
goals, I do want to end with this though, Trey.
Go
I
ahead.
don't want people to be so focused on accomplishing and
Come on.
checking things out that they forget to celebrate. I have a
That's
lot of clients who have some big achievements both at work, they get acknowledged for things, and they don't spend time in the mode of just reflecting and celebrating. Like, I did this. What does this really mean to me? Sharing it with your circle. Because if
yes.
you feel like you can't share your achievements and your accomplishments, I don't care if you have 31 consecutive days of wins. You need a circle of people who want to celebrate every
With
single
you.
one of
Yeah,
those
I'm
with
with
you.
you. Yes.
And I think that's the other thing about being up to something. If you are up to something good, your circle will make way for it, right? And
Yes.
what I mean by that is the people who should be in your life will stay, and the people who shouldn't be in your life, they will leave
Yes.
because they will think your light is too bright and you doing too much. And if you ever hear anybody saying that about you, you tell them, look, Auntie Janine said
What she
that if
said.
my light don't illuminate your light,
Ooh,
then maybe we shouldn't be together.
that's
Right?
real.
Because that's what it should be. Trey, everything that you accomplish, I see it making my
It's
light brighter.
absolutely. It's a win for you is a win for me.
Right. And so a win for before 30 is a win for all of you who are listening. And we are up to some good stuff. And everything, like when we plan, everything that we plan at before 30 is about all of you. It's not even about Trey and I.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not about us.
Our goal is to really, we're still on our journeys, but it's definitely to make sure that, as you're on your journey, there's happiness and that there's a community with you. And so that's what we're here
Yeah. And so we want to thank you all for listening today. Please check in with us, shoot us some
Absolutely.
messages, text us, hit us up at before30 hyphen.com. You can
Mhm.
contact us and email us directly at hello at before 30.com
Yes,
and tell us what your goals are. We want to hold you accountable, and we'd love to read some of these goals on
absolutely.
our show next week and then in the coming week. So don't forget, please share this show with others, get together with your community, and hey, it's never too late to start goal setting.
Right. And don't forget to celebrate.
All right. Well, thank you again. And just remember, at before 30, you are a
Masterpiece
masterpiece
and a
and a
work in
work in
progress.
progress.